name is Hasmina Kathuria. I'm a pulmonologist, an associate professor at Boston University, and director of the Tobacco Treatment Center. I also serve as the vice chair of the ATS Tobacco Action Committee. I appreciate the opportunity to address NASM panel regarding the health effects and patterns of cigar use. I would like to make the following comments. First, there is no such thing as a premium cigar. The premium cigar is a concept developed by the tobacco industry to try to escape FDA regulation of all tobacco products. Whether you use a weight and price point as proposed in the FDA deeming rule and legislation by Representative Poloni, or a manufacturing process definition, such as the Traditional Cigar Manufacturing and Small Business Jobs Preservation Act, you are still talking about a combustible tobacco product that has the known adverse health effects of tobacco. NASM should not adopt the fraudulent concept of a premium cigar. Second, while I know it is not within the scope of NASM to compel FDA to take action, it is important to note that FDA currently has all the authority and information it needs to develop effective regulation to protect the public from the known harms of all tobacco products, including cigars. While additional research and information is always welcome, the agency should take immediate action to regulate cigars. Third, the adverse health effects of cigars are well known and well documented. According to the NCI, when compared to cigarettes, cigars have a higher level of cancer-causing substances, more tar, and a higher level of toxins. Further, cigar smoking causes cancer of the oral pharynx, the larynx, the esophagus, and the lung. It may also cause cancer of the pancreas. Moreover, daily cigar smokers, particularly those who inhale, are at increased risk of developing heart disease and other types of lung disease, such as COPD. Secondhand smoke from cigars also contain the same toxic chemicals that secondhand cigarette smokers do. This type of smoke can cause or contribute to lung cancer and heart disease. It also increases the risk and severity of childhood asthma, ear infections, and upper and lower respiratory infections in children. Lastly, I've reviewed the draft questions and would like to make the following comments. Under the patterns of use section, when assessing the characteristic of individuals who use cigars, in addition to age, gender, race, ethnicity, educational attainment, and income, consider including sexual orientation. Consider researching what is known about co-use of premium cigars and other tobacco products, as well as co-use of premium cigars along with marijuana and other substance use. Under the health effects section, for the research question, how do the health effects of premium cigar use vary by the following factors? In addition to the frequency and intensity of use, it would be important to consider the amount of cigar smoke inhaled. Similarly, it would be important to study the health effects of individuals who formerly smoked cigarettes, as these individuals are more likely to inhale more intensely when they switch to cigar use. Lastly, under the health effects section, are there plans to study the health effects of co-use of cigars with other substances? For example, the effects of alcohol and cigar use on oral cancers. And lastly, under the use liability section, an research question to consider is how does current cigar use influence future initiation of cigarettes and other substance use? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight on a special program here at the Great Lakes Smoke Show. As you just heard, the ridiculous statements by the lead scientist of the FDA, tonight we're going to really have a serious discussion about what she is claiming. It's amazing what she just talked about, and tonight we have three fine doctors who have done the research and the science. All three are owners of their own cigar line and have invested in the industry for many years. So again, folks, I want to thank you, and please stay tuned. This is going to be very, very informative, and the doctors have a lot to say. For all you who have never seen our show before, I want to introduce ourselves. My name is Ron Pecorini. This is Kyle Gesso.
How you doing, everyone?
My brother, Bob Pecorini.
How you doing, folks?
And my cousin, Frank.
Hello, everyone.
And tonight we are going to bring you the best education that we can find from three doctors who are very highly vested in the industry. Before we bring them on board, we're going to do a little sponsorship and take care of them first. So, Frank, I ask you, please take it away with our sponsors.
Cigar in the Bottle is 2 palate-pleasing gifts in 1. A specially blended Grand Pommier XS VSOP Cognac is elegantly contained in patented numbered bottles. Winner of back-to-back medals at the LA Spirits Awards, Cigar in the Bottle inventor Forbidden Johnny teams up with Vartan and Hendrik Kellner for this custom-blended Vartan Reserva cigar, well-preserved in a hand-blown glass chamber featuring Boveda 2-way humidification.
On a small farm nestled along a river in southern Honduras, grows an estate-grown tobacco so exceptional. Stop, please! No moss! This is Dan Blunt for Alec Bradley Cigars. Some copywriter handed this to me expecting me to read it. Good Lord. Do me a favor, pick up an Alec Bradley cigar. Light it up, spend an hour with it. You'll be glad you did. We'll talk again real soon.
Loyalty, passion, courage. These are the founding principles of K by Karen Berger Cigars. The Maduro, the Habano, and the newly rated 93 by Cigar Journal Connecticut. Do yourself a favor and check out this wonderful line of cigars that come from a completely linear company from seed to your hands. Experience the magic of Rockefeller cigars today. With 11 years steeped in tradition, passion, and mystery of the leaf, Rockefeller has a cigar just for you. Be like the greatest magicians and make Rockefeller cigars appear in your lineup with any of our 4 lines. The Nicaraguan, the Dominican Blue, the Vintage Gold, and our new LE, the Art of Magic. Troianello Cigars, created by cigar enthusiast Michael Troianello of Scranton, PA, prides itself in offering top-notch cigars not only to the Pennsylvania market, but worldwide. Troianello Cigars is a proud maker of premium hand-rolled cigars, with a wide range of premium cigars, flavored cigars, and accessories. You're sure to find what you're looking for.
Good evening, folks. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, this evening, we're going to be talking about the FDA and the premium cigar industry right now. And we want to welcome a special guest, the chairman of the BCA Association, Mr. Armin Caprielian. Armin, how are you this evening? And thank you for joining us.
Hey, guys. You know, it's always a pleasure being on your show. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And as soon as you started, I had never seen Ron that serious and that fired up. and for good reason. This is definitely very serious in nature.
Yes.
Because a lot of things pertaining to our beloved industry is in question.
Yep.
And it came to this point where the board, the BCA collectively wanted to have a platform and have our voice heard. Everybody tuning in saw that clip of the doctor, those 3+ minutes of what I'm going to refer to as uninformed rhetoric, or however you want to term it. And the first time we saw that, Gabby and I had a long conversation, and we knew that had to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, we don't know what the outcome will be come March with the FDA and how they look to regulate premium cigars. And up until now, it seemed like everybody was tiptoeing around the topic. Everybody talks about lobbying and we're doing this and we're doing that. But I always wondered, why haven't we really tackled the number one issue, which is the science behind it? Really, that's what it comes down to. And I know previously Gabby had done extensive research on that. And I know he shared his thoughts publicly, privately, within the BCA, or lobbying. But as the clock is ticking and we find ourselves getting closer to that March date where the FDA is going to drop the hammer, we thought this was the most opportune time to have a panel discussion. You guys will do the intros, I'm sure, of our three doctors who are all also part of the BCA. They bring their experience, they bring their knowledge, and of course their expertise in as it pertains to science. So this is going to be very informative, but let this also be an eye opener to a lot of people as to why premium cigars is not something, as that doctor said, was fabricated, but indeed it is an art in and of itself, and there is a science, and there are a multitude of reasons why premium cigars are totally different from all combustible products. So I want to first and foremost thank all of you, Great Lakes Smoke Show, for your continued and unwavering support from day one. And of course, I can now officially say also part of the BCA. It really means a lot for you all to give us this platform to have our voice heard, because March is certainly around the corner, and the right people should be listening and taking heed and asking questions. And maybe this will be enlightening that, hey, this is the argument that we should have been using all along.
Mhm.
But in any case, on behalf of the Boutique Cigar Association, I thank all of you. And for our listeners, perhaps tuning in for the first time, the BCA, the Boutique Cigar Association, which was founded by our current board treasurer, founder, Dr. Gabby Caffey of Caffey 1901, he had the foresight and he had the vision to create an organization that would bring together like-minded individuals who have a love and a passion for premium cigars, who are there to grow within the business. And it serves as a platform where we elevate not only ourselves, but one another. Everybody is relevant. We're all welcoming, and everybody has a voice. It's a place where we not only grow our business, but also when it comes to lobbying. So we thank the BCA. Thank you, Gabby. Of course, this was your vision. We're all proud to be a part of it. And hopefully we can get past March and we'll all be here and we'll be on your show celebrating what would hopefully be a victory for the premium cigar industry. So having said that, I think I've said enough. I think you guys should get into the whole meat and potatoes of this podcast. So you already have Dr. Gato Buldukian of Gato Cigars, and of course, Dr. Gabby Caffey of Caffey 1901. I love you guys. I know the industry is in good hands. So I will gracefully sign off and leave it to you guys.
We thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Armin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, folks, that was our chairman of the BCA, and always a wonderful guy, fantastic individual. And again, he is guiding the BCA in an upward fashion. So pay attention, take a look, support your BCA members, folks. It's going to be an incredible organization. It's here to stay. Moving forward here this evening, we have the three doctors who have done the research, the study, the science that we are talking about all along to combat what we had just opened up the show with the FDA. March 18th is their dateline. We're only basically 3 months away from whatever the FDA is going to do. This evening, the three doctors are going to give you the information that is needed for you to make your own decision. We strongly recommend you to take some notes, write down the information so you can do the research yourself, and then get back to your local representatives and do whatever you can to take your voice to our wonderful government and FDA. All right. Don't think your voice does not count. We all need to participate in this, folks. I cannot stress it enough. All of us. Don't leave it for your neighbor. Don't leave it for the next guy. all of us need to get involved and take action. Okay. Yeah, evening, folks. We're going to welcome Dr. Gabby Caffey of Caffey 1901 Cigar Line. We have Dr. Garo of Garo Cigar Line. We have Dr. Oscar Rodriguez of GTO Line. Obviously, right now, Dr. Oscar Rodriguez is trying to get on board. Might have a bad internet section, but we do have the three doctors, and we welcome you. Congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us this evening. How are you doing this evening?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you. Doing very well. Great to be here.
Well, thank you. We if you don't mind, the four of us, we just have a bunch of questions on our behalf because what we want to know, but we think these questions are going to be helpful for others to understand also what is going on. And hopefully you can guide them and explain to them what's happening compared to the 3-minute nonsense that we've had. We just heard opening up the show. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start, and then each of us will be asking you guys questions. Feel free to jump in. We're hoping that Oscar can jump on here shortly. But so the two of you is going to have to hold the fort down until he gets on there.
All right.
Again, thank you for everything you guys do. All of you have the tremendous cigar lines. The four of us have smoked them all, and it's really a fantastic line. We know the passion that you have in the industry is amazing. Question number one that we'd like to ask you is, what are premium cigars? And what I mean by that is, for the purpose of the court's order, a premium cigar is defined as a cigar that meets all the following 8 criterias. What, in your words, would be the 8 criterias that meet?
So I will go ahead and take this, Dr. Garo, with your permission.
Sure.
First of all, this is a tremendous honor to be able to speak on this platform on such an intimate topic, which affects so many families around the United States, throughout Central America, that depend on this artisanal craft to make a living. First, to address Dr. I don't want this to be a back and forth of her comments, Dr. Katharia, and what our opinions are. We are going to keep this very logical, very simple, very easy to understand. We're not going to go so deep into science that, look, science, I could find carcinogens in anything. Understand that. But we need to talk about premium cigars and have a logical conversation. And there's 3 things that the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine are kind of overlooking, which should have been, since day one up until today, the topics of conversation. Number 1 is patterns of use. Number 2 is a premium cigar. What is a premium cigar? We'll tackle those 8 points very shortly. And number 3, and I think most importantly, is we need to look at a premium cigar as a combustible tobacco product that is a poor delivery tool for nicotine. So we're addressing 3 factors there, very important factors. Patterns of use. What is a premium cigar? And the reason I say and emphasize what is a premium cigar is because for the past 25 years, premium cigars have been clumped in with all other types of cigars when the science is being reviewed. When I say all other cigars, I'm talking about, I'm not going to name brands, but your typical gas station cigars, flavored blunts, little, I'm not going to, again, this is a very delicate conversation because I have so much respect for everybody in the industry, and I don't want any of us to get a phone call from a lawyer tomorrow morning. All right. So we're going to try to keep it very direct. And third, a very poor delivery tool for nicotine. So a premium cigar, what is a premium cigar? The definition that the court accepted last year, and they've actually notified the FDA to take on this definition, is that it's wrapped in whole tobacco leaf. It contains 100% leaf tobacco binder contains at least 50% of the filler by weight, long filler tobacco. So if a cigar is 100% short filler tobacco, it doesn't qualify as a premium cigar. It's handmade or hand rolled. No machinery is used to make the product. It has no filter, non-tobacco tip. What they mean by that is like a plastic tip or a non-tobacco mouthpiece. And we've seen those gas station cigars that have the little tips on them. More importantly, it does not have any characterizing flavors other than tobacco. So the definition of premium cigars really focuses on all natural, majority long filler, hand rolled premium cigars. And the final point is that it must weigh 6 pounds per 1,000 units. Now, why is it so important to establish a definition of a premium cigar? Is because when you look at the past 30 years of scientific evidence on tobacco, or let's say combustible tobacco products, it's all been clumped together. So the FDA, the Center for Disease Control, the Department of Health and Human Services, the National Academies of Science, they've retained the services of 7 PhDs from all over the country, and they've been reviewing science that has clumped premium cigars in with all these other combustible tobacco products. When you do that, you've destroyed 500 years of history. You've destroyed everything that we do. You've destroyed the concept of a premium cigar. It's like I cannot even give an analogy because I've never seen such generalizations take place in any other sector. But because the word tobacco is a dirty word to regulators, we're being clumped into all these other tobacco products. But it's time that we draw the line and we move forward and we use logic and science to explain why premium cigars are different and why they should be treated differently.
Thank you, Dr. Gabby. Now, before we get started a little bit more, I just want to do a formal introduction of the doctors. And if you don't mind, can you tell me how long each and every single one of you have been in the cigar industry? Dr. Oscar Rodriguez, are you on? How's it going? Can you hear us?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, we can. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. How are we coming in okay for you?
Yes, you guys sound really good.
All right. Thank you. Oscar, I'd like to know, would you mind giving the audience your background and basically how long you've been in the industry?
Well, I'm a 4th generation owner. I was born into the industry. We've been making cigars and growing tobacco for over 140 years in the Dominican Republic. Physician by trade, emergency medicine is my specialty. But I've been a part of cultivating, harvesting, fermenting, and then my specialty is that I'm the blender for our family. So I create a lot of the new blends. Been blending since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I started to smoke when I was 12.
All right, but don't tell nobody. That's a nice one. Garo, do you mind telling us, the audience, a little bit about your background in the industry?
Well, I've been a cigar smoker all my life. So when I went to Dominican Republic, I'm by profession a chiropractor, licensed chiropractor. Then I decided I chose to go back to medical school in Dominican Republic. So when I went there, I was passionate with cigar. So one thing led to the other 25 years ago. I started my own line by asking a guy to help me out to know the secret. So since then, from day one, my hands was involved in the blending, in choosing the tobacco and choosing the sizes. And it's been 25 years I've been in this industry and going to the trade shows, and something that I really enjoy doing it. And I still do practice chiropractic at the same time.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Dr. Gabby.
Wow, amazing.
Hey, guys. I'm honored to be here on this panel. My name's Gabby Caffey. I've been in the cigar industry for 2013. What is that? 8 years? 9 years? 8 years. Um, our family has a history going back to 1901 in Central America and Honduras. And one of the things about me is that growing up in a Latin family, a lot of my uncles in their guayaberas would always have cigars. It was just kind of like in every family photo. Uh, God rest their souls. They're all gone, and I'll share with you. They all passed away in their late 80s. Um, Cigars have been a part of our family and our life. Although I'm the first one in my family to go into the business, my love for premium cigars came through medical school. I moved to Miami. This is where I went to medical school, and cigars helped me tremendously to study late at night. And when you're cramming for finals or you have exams, you're either munching on stuff, snacking, eating junk food, or I started smoking pipes and drink. No, I wasn't drinking while I was studying, but I was smoking cigars. So, and plus the friendships that I've had over the years, very intimate friendships with people in the industry. My wife's also related to very old factories in Nicaragua. So it's just been in our circle, and it was just a natural progression for me. I still maintain an active license. I don't practice. It's great to keep up with continuing medical education. We're at the forefront of everything. It's beautiful. I mean, I attend continuing education courses, and we talk about topics like CBD and how to use that to treat, inflammation in patients. There's beautiful things with this panel. I look at Dr. Rodriguez. His experience over the past 30 years as a doctor is phenomenal. Now, none of us are here to say cigars are safe. Go smoke 1 million of them a day. Let's establish that, okay? But what we are here to do is to discuss how they're different and why they shouldn't be treated like cigarettes. This is a family-driven industry. Dr. Garo, here's a man who's dedicated his entire life to holistic medicine. This is something that we really need to take into consideration, the perspective that he has about premium cigars, being a connoisseur his whole life. I started smoking cigars at the age of 18. I'm now 78. I mean, look at me. I'm 50 years old, but I think in moderation, we enjoy them, we celebrate life, and I think it's painful to hear Dr. Catharia talk about, because it was a very biased attitude that she took.
No question about it.
We understand she feels like that about anything tobacco. So let's move forward and let's really shed some light on why premium cigars are the noble brother of the tobacco industry.
Well, gentlemen, we're going to have Frank. He's going to put you all on the hot seat right now. He's got a bunch of questions that he's going to let you have it. So give the answers, let the audience hear him. Frank, take it away. Frank, you're muted. Can't hear you. Frank, we can't hear you.
There we go. I'm back.
All right. Thank you.
Sometimes it's better when you don't hear me.
This is true, but go ahead. Not tonight. We want to hear you.
Yeah, no. How much do you guys know about the tobacco that goes into your cigars? Mm-hmm. Is there anything added to the tobacco that you use to make a premium cigar?
Nothing is added because, they're all long fillers. We kind of take it and, store it, cure it for most of the part after we purchase it. There's no additive in it. That's it. It's all long filler tobacco. They're pure tobaccos all around.
Gotcha.
Dr. Rodriguez, you want to go a little deeper? How do you, 140 years, tell me about the tobacco and premium cigars?
Well, we like to we don't use any chemicals. I don't allow, because of my practice and the way I like to do things, because I smoke my own cigars. I do not We do not use any chemicals on our for fermentation, for fertilization. Not at no time. I don't even put pesticides on our tobacco. We just do the regular freezing. Um, but that's it. I don't know. I don't allow it. I like considering ourselves an organic farm, organic tobacco, because there's nothing added. And that's pretty much the hallmark of what premium tobacco is that it's all natural. There's no additives. There's nothing in it. So nothing but raw natural tobacco, and that's the nicety of this.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Gabby, you have anything to add to that?
You know, I do. Dr. Rodriguez said something really interesting to get more in detail when he said that they freeze the tobacco. So, tobacco as naturally existing plant has a natural flora and fauna, let's say bacteria and fungus that live on the tobacco plant. And they also have larvae. You know, you guys have seen tobacco beetles. You've had cigars that haven't been aged properly, and you'll get a tobacco beetle kind of drilling a hole through your cigar, right, that you paid $10, $15 for. The concept of freezing tobacco is to, freezing creates a cellular environment where water expands. So if you have any larvae or any eggs in any tobacco leaves that you bring into the factory prior to actually working the tobacco, you can actually freeze, and those larvae or those little eggs, microscopic eggs, the water expands, becomes hyperosmolar, and you're basically killing any tobacco beetle remnants that may be in the tobacco. So it's really a beautiful thing that I'll tell you guys straight up that cigarette companies, on the contrary, are fumigating their tobacco, not freezing it. So I'm not here to like pick at cigarette companies, but there is a big difference between how we process our tobacco and how other tobacco companies, non-premium, process their tobacco. But that's a great point, Doc. Thank you.
Fantastic. Frank, you have a couple of more there?
No, I think, I think it's up to Kyle at this way, but how does the elimination of, the science of nicotine and ammonia when it comes to tobacco?
Boy, that's, if I may, gentlemen, that's a that's a very interesting question. I've dedicated a good part of the past 3 years reading about tobacco fermentation and ammonia and how it affects nicotine and nicotine absorption in the human body. So one of the steps that we do that no other combustible tobacco let's just say the other guys, all right? Let's just generalize here. You got premium cigars, you got everybody else. Let's draw the line. We're not talking about them. When we take tobacco that's been, let's say, harvested and then cured for a couple of months, and we begin the fermentation process, which is, you all have seen the pilons, 3, 4, 5,000 pound pilons. Every factory has these pilons where the tobacco is being fermented. Fermentation is a process where we add water to the tobacco leaves and we stack them in such a way that as you apply layer over layer over layer, the weight of the tobacco actually combined with the moisture begins a reaction. And you've seen how most of these pilons are covered with tarps or a plastic, I guess you would call it like a big heavy duty bag, just to trap in that moisture and that heat. And what happens during that process, and it's not a quick process, depending on the tobacco variety that you're using, it could be 4 to 6 months. It can go 9 months if you're using a really, really thick tobacco. Let's say some Pennsylvania broadleaf tobacco. It can go even, guys have gone into not only 12 months, but then do double fermentation to make sure that you eliminate all those byproducts that are in the tobacco leaf. Now, this is so beautiful. There's, for the past 200 years, there's been farmers fermenting tobacco, and nobody has really ever made the connection between what it is that they're doing and all these scientific papers that have been funded by the NIH. Because there's beautiful publications dating back to 1890 all the way through 1967 that literally speak about, and by the way, let me get a drink. I miss looking at all you guys because when I talk, it just shows my face. When we ferment tobacco, what have you, doctors, explain to me when you walk into a room and they're fermenting tobacco, what does it smell like?
Oh, it's terrible.
Ammonia.
It's almost
Yeah.
impossible to breathe.
It's that ammonia. It's kicking off the when it comes to tobacco, ammonia is the devil. I always say that ammonia is the devil, and we're the only category in the tobacco industry that puts their tobacco through an extensive fermentation cycle in order to get rid of the ammonia, so that then we're left with the raw tobacco leaf with all the natural oils that are on it. Now, this is something very important. Fermentation occurs because the bacteria and the fungus that are naturally living on these tobacco leaves, when you apply moisture, pressure, and heat, they begin to release enzymes, and these proteins begin to break down the tobacco leaf. A lot of people say if you ferment tobacco too long, you can actually burn it. The reason you can burn it, it's like leaving something in acid. Those enzymes become so great that they begin to eat away at the tobacco leaf. So that's why during fermentation, we monitor temperature. We let certain tobaccos reach certain temperatures, and then we have to rotate the pilon to make sure we don't burn it. And it's a beautiful science behind what it is that these people, for 200 years, they've been fermenting tobacco at cigar factories around the world, but nobody has really ever talked about the beauty of the tobacco vintages that are developed from these fermentation cycles. I mean, what we do to tobacco, I think, is much more sophisticated than what is done to wine, because it's so labor intensive. And I'm not comparing, nobody get butt hurt, relax. I know you guys love wine. But most importantly, and I want this said earlier, that premium cigars are a poor delivery tool for nicotine. The reason being is we've gotten rid of the ammonia. So what happens when you get rid of the ammonia is the nicotine is left behind. But in the absence of ammonia, the nicotine molecule goes from a volatile ionic state, which means it's volatile, it's ready to bind to something, right? So if there's ammonia present, it's ready to bind to the oral mucosa, our bronchial pathways. But once you get rid of the ammonia, that nicotine volatile ion turns into a salt. And when it turns into a salt, it's not absorbed by the oral mucosa when we're enjoying cigars. And the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, their PhD panel, they were confused. They could not understand why they took two individuals, one who did not smoke a cigar, and they tested his blood, looking for traces of nicotine. And they took another individual the same day who smoked one premium cigar, and their nicotine levels were the same. Now, the reason, understand, there's nicotine in tomatoes, there's nicotine in broccoli, there's nicotine in other. So we already have, our bodies already are used to consuming and absorbing nicotine, but premium cigars, I will emphasize, are a poor delivery tool for nicotine because we focus so much on removing the ammonia. That's what separates premium cigars from all other tobacco products.
Wow.
It really is a big deal.
I mean,
Very interesting. Very
it will bring the pH also, Dr. Gabby.
Yeah.
pH has a lot to do with it because the other product, their acidity, the cigar is more alkaline, which is not readily absorbed to your lungs or to alveolize. I think that's one of the major things too when we do the fermentation process and the ammonia is gone. So that's what we're balancing it out.
Dr. Garo brings up an excellent point. And with all due respect, you could see I have some notes here because I don't want to make any mistakes. When Dr. Garo brings up the topic of pH, if you compare the pH, if you look at a cigarette, first of all, cigarette companies, when they analyze the smoke in a cigarette, it's got over 7,000 different chemicals in it. But cigarette companies, and this is science published from the NIH, I've got all the, by the way, everything I've researched, I've already sent to the panel at the National Academies of Science. And I'll tell you why it's so important that this is taking place today and why the research that we've sent them is even more important. While the premium cigar industry is working to eliminate ammonia, the cigarette industry is buying 50 million gallons of ammonia each year in the United States to spray onto the tobacco to make the nicotine more addictive. So,
Unreal.
so when we look at Dr. Catharia's comments of our industry has used the term premium cigars as a fraudulent way to, no, her biased approach in making a decision about something she doesn't know about is fraudulent thought processes,
Right.
which are going to destroy hundreds of families and hundreds of boutique cigar families that cannot afford to go through this expensive FDA pathway. Listen, while we're sitting here having this conversation, you know what the big boys are doing? I'm not going to talk about anybody or bring up anybody. They're building new factories in Nicaragua. They're building they're expanding new farms. And we all see the pictures on social media. They're doubling their operations. The big boys are aggressively expanding, and the small companies, we're sitting here waiting for March of 2022 when the National Academies of Science, these 7 doctors, are going to give the FDA their final opinion on how premium cigars should be regulated. So everything we're discussing here now, this is not the first time it's been discussed. Everything's been put into letters. All the science has been handed over to NASM. We're going into this with nothing left. Everything's been put on the table, you guys. And I think it's time that you guys, the public, realize that when you look at the Boutique Cigar Association, there's people out there, skeptics, that are like, well, what are they doing? Well, we're not like any other association. We're not a trade organization. We're not lobbying in Washington, D.C. We're doing things with a different approach because we have something that nobody else has. We've got the only 3 licensed physicians in the cigar industry as part of the Boutique Cigar Association, and we believe that our voice matters because we would not be in this industry. We all took the Hippocratic Oath, guys. And you know what? If we felt we were doing harm, we wouldn't be in this industry. I'll tell you right now.
Amazing. Kyle, you have any questions on your end, please?
So one other question, I guess, would be, what percentage of the smokers would you say inhale? Why would they do it? And how many of them were or are cigarette smokers on top of this in the past?
Dr. Oscar, you want to start on that?
To me, anybody that inhales had some kind of they smoke cigarettes, because there is no pleasure in taking in any kind of cigar smoke or smoke that comes off of this beautiful artisan, masterfully produced object.
Yeah.
When you inhale this, It's so alkaline. It's an irritant. There's no perfusion. There's no gaseous exchange. All it does is cause you to cough. So when people tell me that they inhale it, I look at them and I'm like, no, you're not. Because you might have thought you did, but it's not doing anything. And it's so undesirable. There's no pleasure in that. We do this to enjoy, to savor, for aroma. There's so many beautiful things that occur. The restoration of thought, just the sheer and utter relaxation properties. I love people that tell me they inhale, they don't, and watch what they do when they're smoking a cigar. What, Dr. Gar, what do people do the moment
Well, well, you have to understand again with the pH we were talking earlier, because with the cigarette, with the other tobacco, their acidity, they're easily absorbed to your lungs and the alveoli and your lungs. When if it's it's an alkaline, it's very hard. That's why they cough, and that's one of the reasons people they don't realize you cannot inhale cigar because of the alkaline, because it doesn't absorb. So that's why it's not easily absorbable. So that's why you cough. And most of the people that they do that, which I've seen, maybe out of hundreds of 100 people that I've seen, maybe one of them they tell me they inhale. Then I see them, they smoke cigar, they leave it on the ashtray, they light up cigarette because they need that absorption. See, that's what people, when they say they inhale, they are usually cigarette smokers. So I mean, the cigar was never like, a lot of people they say, what the enjoyment is. I tell them, I mean, when you smoke, when you have it in your mouth, there where the senses are on your tongue, 4 different senses, that's where you're going to feel it. And if you like the strength and so forth, you can get it through your nose. I mean, but you can never inhale because of that factor, of the pH factor.
So Dr. Garro brings up a really good point, and I've got a quote here from one of the journals. This one was back from 1967. It says here, chemical additives are introduced into cigarette tobacco for a variety of specific purposes, including pH adjustment, bringing the pH to an acidic level, maintenance of smoke humectants, amelioration of the harshness of the smoke, control the burn rate, and impartation of a desirable flavor to the smoke. So when they discuss the chemical additives added to cigarette tobacco, when you bring down the pH and, as they say, amelioration of the harshness of the smoke, what they're doing is they're designing the perfect nicotine delivery device so that the smoke can go deep into the lungs, get processed in the alveoli, and your body gets a nicotine hit. It's incredible. And we'll go into other topics about the effects of cigarettes versus cigars. And by the way, these are just doctors' opinions from our experience. Now, if you take the 3 of us, and you guys have a lot of experience with smoking premium cigars, the question is how many people inhale. Dr. Catharia really made some aggressive statements as to, she talked about marijuana use, she talked about sexuality. Really, like, they don't understand our culture. What we are as premium cigar connoisseurs is we're a community of individuals that appreciate a refined artisan tobacco product. Nobody runs into a gas station looking to get a hit from a cigar. Nobody, and this is the logic, nobody wakes up in the morning, right, and they got their pack of cigars on their nightstand and they got to light their cigar. Like, no, this is they have a totally wrong idea about us. And we'll quickly tackle patterns of use. Let's talk about all those things, but after that topic, I do want to dive into, and we'll do this, I think, after the break. We'll dive into why the substantial equivalence process that the FDA has in tobacco products category, why it doesn't work for our industry.
Perfect.
But-
It was perfect timing, actually. And you guys really did answer quite a bit of questions that we already kind of was going to ask you. So
Wow.
your answers did bunch in a lot. So let's hold on for a second, folks. We're going to come right back. Let's give our sponsors an opportunity here. Frank, take it away.
Cigar Prop started off as one item, a simple cigar rest born out of necessity. Over the years, Cigar Prop has morphed into something greater. Cigar Prop is now a brand, a journey, a way of life. It has become known as Prop Style. That simple cigar rest has turned into a whole line of cigar accessories, apparel, and even a weekly live show called the I Tap That Cigar Show. So remember, make sure you give your cigars the props they deserve, but more importantly, remember to live Prop Style. Johnny D. Teas out of Lakeville, Illinois are a veteran-owned company that take great pride in their work. Their goal is not to fulfill one order, but to earn all future orders by offering the best products at unbeatable prices. Ask any of their repeat customers and they'll tell you their quality is always the highest and their prices are always the lowest. Shop any Veterans Collection and 25% of the proceeds will be donated back to the veterans of foreign wars or the American Legion.
This is Phil Morgan, General Manager of Missouri Meerschaum Corncob Pipes in Washington, Missouri. Our mission since 1869 has been to produce great smoking pipes that anyone can afford. We guarantee our pipes won't be your most expensive, but they just might be the ones you smoke the most. At Missouri Meerschaum Company, we don't just sell our corncob pipes, we grow them, make them, and smoke them. Missouri Meerschaum, Washington, Missouri, since 1869.
Specializing in tobacco pipe refurbishment and sales, Briar 911 buys and sells all kinds of pipes from a single pipe to entire collections. Our services include stem repair, replacement, deoxidation, and sanitization, reaming, cleaning, and bowl sanitizing, shank crack repair, buffing, and waxing. We make sure that each pipe is ready to smoke once it leaves our shop. For more info, contact us via Facebook at Briar 911.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you very much. Gabby, right before we left, you were ready to start up a conversation. Can we pick that up where you left off?
Sure, and forgive me if I'm speaking too much.
No,
But
Kyle's going to have Dr. Garrow, and when Oscar gets
Yeah.
back, a few questions. So just pick up who you are, and then Kyle will lead into Garrow and Oscar here shortly.
But just, I want you all to please understand that if I do speak, these are conversations I've had with the fellow doctors, even going back to before the festival last year. And this is something that we're always talking about. So patterns of use when it comes to premium cigars. The average age for the first cigar smoked by an individual, different studies show different ages, but it's between 24 and 27 years of age. That's the first cigar. Now, there is a company out there that literally just published an article today. It's kind of, I'm not going to talk about the company, but they're involved in the business of growing tobacco. And they were discussing how 3 million children under the age of 18 will have smoked a cigarette for the first time in their lives. And of those 3 million, I think the number was about 4 million of them will become permanent cigarette smokers. Now, that's the cigarette conversation. Here we are on the cigar side, and we're talking patterns of use, the first cigar between the age of 24 and 27. Secondly, when people talk about premium cigars, there is no conversation to be had about addiction. So when you ask, well, what's the average number of cigars that an individual smokes? The PATH study, which is a study that was done by the National Institute of Health, to hand to the FDA so that they can understand premium cigars better. The average individual smokes 1 to 2 cigars a month. Now, the premium cigar category, last year, there were roughly 350 million premium cigars imported into the United States. That's nearly the population of the country. I mean, I don't understand, if you use logic, how are premium cigars a problem? The second thing is that, unlike every other tobacco industry, and I have a mad respect for pipe tobacco, and ironically, pipe tobacco is usually sold in premium cigar establishments. We have our own brick and mortar shops. There's over 2,000 brick and mortar cigar shops in the country that are run abiding all age verification standards that the FDA has implemented. And we have our own establishments to really make sure that young people don't come in contact with these products. So when you look at patterns of use, there's nothing there to grab onto. When the average age for your first cigar is 24 to 27, and the average cigar smoker has 1 to 2 cigars a month, how can the FDA tell us that the millions and millions of dollars that they're going to be spending is cost? Have they done a cost benefit analysis? When you look at the PATH study, which really analyzed morbidity and mortality of cigar smokers versus non-smokers, after a 30-year study really found no difference, guys. It's not like we were dropping dead 10 years younger, which is another paper that I wrote, and I've submitted it to everybody. I wrote a paper where I took, historically, over the past 50 years, I took every cigar manufacturer, let's call them the legends, people that have passed on. I've taken, and I say that their names with mad respect, right? Jose Orlando Padron, Don Carlos, right? Fuente. The list goes on and on. Rolando Reyes Sr. There's Alejandro Robaina from Cuba. The average age of death of the last 17 cigar factory owners that have passed away was 84 years of age.
Wow.
Now, when we take the average age of death of a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant non-smoking male, it's 74 in the United States. So how is it possible that these guys that are around premium cigar tobacco and premium cigars, Rolando, I'm not saying go smoke 10 cigars a day, but I'm saying this was their life. This is what they did for a living. They smoked cigars. Rolando Reyes Sr. was smoking cigars up until 3 months before he passed away. He was 89 years old. Premium cigars are not the problem. Premium cigars, let's make something clear. They're not designed to be inhaled. They're not meant to be inhaled. The tobacco smoke is very alkaline. It has a very high pH. It's very harsh. I've had friends that by accident inhaled, they almost coughed up a lung.
Mhm.
This is something that we savor. It's like food. It's something for enjoyment.
Mhm.
It's not something that should be regulated to the point where all these families are put out of business.
Unbelievable.
So getting to that then, does the FDA regulate any of the other products that undergo extensive fermentation, i.e. like alcohols, wine, beer, yogurt, cheeses?
Jesus, that's a great question. That's a very complicated question. So I've done some research on that, and I've shared it with the good doctors here. The answer is no, but there's a catch, right? The FDA does not regulate any products that undergo an extensive fermentation period, and we'll get into why in a second. But let me read this to you guys first, okay? Because I don't want to. Give me a second. Okay, this is where it's really important. This is where we draw the line so that should NASM listen to this conversation, fermentation processes are frequently used to manufacture intermediates. Okay? For example, drug substances and related drug products for veterinary medicine. Now, I'll give you an example. They take, like, penicillin is derived from bacteria. You can have a fermentation process, and during that process, you can extract one chemical, and those are the products that are regulated by the FDA. But the FDA does not regulate any product that undergoes an extensive fermentation period, because that final product can never be reproduced in its exact identity. So that brings up the question of I know where you're going with this. That brings up the substantial equivalence conversation, that the FDA is putting the burden of proof on us. So here's an agency that has not been able to prove. If I'm speaking too loud, let me know. I'll simmer down.
It's your passion. It's the
good.
passion voice.
It's all
Go
good.
for it.
All good.
You're doing good, Gabby.
All right, man. So the FDA has not been able to prove that they themselves have replicated the substantial equivalence process from one cigar to another. And what they've been wanting to do by forcing us to go through that pathway is the burden of proof is on us. So what happens when we take, let's say, 3, 4, 500 cigar companies that spend $100,000 per cigar to go through this testing and analysis process, and we come to the conclusion that we've been saying at the Boutique Cigar Association since 2017, that it doesn't work for our industry. It's impossible. Why is it impossible? Because every tobacco leaf, every plant, if we take a tobacco plant, we look at the soil, we analyze the soil, the contents of the soil, the moisture, the bacteria, the metals, the minerals. Every crop is different. And what's even more crazy about our industry is that we practice crop rotation. So it's not like we grow the same damn thing on the same damn lot every damn time. You know? So we literally have, our industry has perfected crop rotation. We'll grow red beans, all right? Why? To introduce iron into the soil. We'll grow corn. What does the corn do? It has deep roots that go down deeper and allow the soil to breathe, bringing in more magnesium. So we go through crop rotation in such a way that we cannot reproduce the same tobacco plant. And if we can't produce the same tobacco plant and we can't control the weather, the moisture, the minerals, how can we control the flora and fauna, the bacteria, and the fungus that's essential for fermentation?
Yes.
This is not an exact science. They want us to act. They think that we're a cigarette. A cigarette is made in a lab.
Mm-hmm.
We are not. We're made by Mother Nature.
Yes.
That's really the most important topic of this entire session is leave us alone. We know what we're doing.
Well, I have to bring you the dark, the side of that which not very, I would say, pleasant, because if that's what they're doing, why those big companies, they're expanding their production, they're buying lands, new factories, even they're building hotels with cigar lounges and so forth. If they're going to doing that, it's a one thing that leads me to my mind that, you know, anybody who started after 2007, which the date that the FDA decided, that they will put them in a strain and the big companies will profit from this. That's the ultimate thing I see it the way it's going. And that's what they're putting the burden on the smaller manufacturer, especially getting on those people who started 2007, after 2007. I mean,
Dr. Oscar, anything on your end?
Really, it's the same with crop rotation. I've actually taken tobacco leaf from a 10-year aged process that we've kept. There's no leaf that tastes the same as the other. I smoke the leaf raw, and there's no way that not even identical twins are the same. You know, the process is scientifically impossible to mimic something that was done in the past to it today. I have to constantly retouch the blends because we grow twice a year. We have 2 harvests, so some have more water, some have less water. Some are potent, less potent. Flavor changes all the time.
Dr. Oscar, is there if there are a box of 20 cigars in a box, will they be different?
Every single cigar will be completely different. They will, for the most part, have the general 3 or 4 characteristical flavors, but they're all a different experience, and that's the beauty of this. That everything, it's all different, and it's for the most part the same in many ways, but not down to the level of the cellular level, all the way down to the minute. It's impossible.
Interesting. Dr. Garro, anything on that?
No, as I agree with Oscar, because every year that we have to, let's say we have to do another blend, we take the tobaccos, we test them, reblend them, because sometimes the seco, which will be the lighter part, will be stronger than the ligero, and then we have to work it out so that every time we have to reblend it so that we would come at least close to what we have. And again, each box will have certain characteristic. If the box of 20 or 25 doesn't matter, will have a certain unique characteristic to that blend, but the 25 of them will be different because there's no way it can be done.
Wow.
I mean, that's the realistic. I mean, we're not here just sugarcoating everything. That's the factual things we do, and that's why people, they should know.
Wonderful. Hey, Frank, could you ask number 8, please?
I had a question actually that came in from the audience that I think was, since a lot of us also, we have some pipe smokers. Here's from James Connolly. He said pipe tobacco also ferments, unless I'm wrong, for all the same reasons. So he's like, please don't forget about us little guys and our premium pipe tobaccos. But it's the same conversation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So, yeah, they're gonna pin it on me. That way, I get the letters from the lawyers. So, that's a great question. I used to enjoy smoking pipe tobacco back in medical school, and absolutely, naturally, pipe tobacco, they've accented the product with many different flavors. But as far as the fermentation, yes, pipe tobacco does go through fermentation. That's the only way to get rid of the ammonia, the nasty flavor. And then once you achieve a good balanced state where you just got the natural oils of the tobacco, then they'll take it in different directions by blending the tobacco, which again doesn't make sense because the FDA wants to put blended tobacco through FDA testing, substantial equivalence testing. Now, name a government agency. I challenge you guys to name a government agency that has passed a law. Let's think about the IRS, okay? Let's say, hey, everybody, if you paid your taxes in 2007 and before, you don't have to pay any more taxes. You're done. Merry Christmas, right? That's what the FDA has just done. It has literally just said, if you have a cigar that was on the market pre-2007, you don't have to worry about any of this. You're grandfathered. You can keep and you can sell 1 billion cigars. And then the smaller guys like us that, many of us came into the industry after 2007. I don't understand the logic because if there was a blend on the market in 2005, right? That cigar is not being made with tobacco from 2005. If that cigar is being made today, that crop was in 2017, 18. So this is where the misnomer that premium cigars is a fraudulent term shows the level of misunderstanding that there is about our products. Now, I feel that the cigar industry is at fault because for the past 5 to 7 years, we've been fighting the wrong fights. We've been talking about the history. We've been talking about the families. It's not that it's the wrong fight. It's just it's not going to get us the results that we want. It's great to discuss families. It's great to discuss the artwork on a cigar box. I think it's fantastic. Although there's, I think, 27 countries that have already moved forward with plain packaging, where there's no artwork allowed and no cigar bands other than just an ugly green band with the name of the cigar on it. Canada has gone full plain packaging. So we've defended our rights to have beautiful art on a box, but we haven't defended the rights of any company that came into the market after 2007. So everybody that came in after 2007 is at risk of going out of business should the National Academies of Science advise the FDA to implement full FDA regulations moving forward. So this session that we're doing today is one of many sessions to try to bring rationality to this aggressive movement against our industry. And one thing I want to say, which makes absolutely no sense to me, and this is all public information, by the way. All you people that love to Google, go to town. Now's your chance. If I don't understand how an agency can be regulating us out of business, right? And then a separate government agency is giving us small business administration loans. How does that work? So one part of the government says, here's $100,000, grow your company. We want you to hire more people, pay more taxes, and make America great again, right? And not just SBA loans, but all this information's public. Go look at the registry of PPP loans that were taken out during the pandemic, and go look at the number of cigar companies and the amounts of money that they borrow. And yet we have a federal agency that wants to put us out of business. So there is a serious disconnect. And my question is this: why haven't we made the connection? Why haven't we? The cigar industry claims that they've spent $15 million fighting the FDA. Let me tell you something. They're still here. They haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
So is it frustrating? Absolutely, it's frustrating. But you know what? I'm not frustrated for me. Look, these doctors are here. Look, the three of us are licensed doctors. You know what's the worst thing that's going to happen to us? We go back and we practice medicine. And we make more money than we're making in the cigar industry. But the point is, we love this industry so much that we're putting our reputations at stake to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
See, I agree with Gabby, because I've been going to the trade show, the RTDA, since 1996. And a couple of years down the road, I tried to talk to the people of the RTDA as to why we cannot separate the premium cigars from the cigarettes by itself. So this way we'll be like beer and wine and hard liquor. They couldn't come up with it. We're working on it. It's been 25 years. I haven't seen anything done. But they want your money, yearly, your membership fee. But they haven't done anything. All I've done experience for the last 25 years to the convention that, the small people like me were being neglected, never heard, and they were sleeping with the big boys. That's it. That's my experience that I had for the last 25 years.
Oscar, how about you? Your family's been in business 140 years. What do you think about this?
We may
Looks
have,
like he froze.
we may
Okay.
have to come back to him.
We're going to move on. Bob, would you ask number 10, please?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about the curing and fermentation process, but Dr. Gabby already touched on that.
Yes,
But you did say something about the aging, which I found very interesting. You said you can overage the leaf to the point where it can burn. What would be that time period? What's the time frame on that? I mean, is there an advantage to going the distance and ferment, aging the leaf as long as possible, or is it not?
Everybody's equally as experienced to answer this question.
I mean,
I will say, even though Dr. Oscar froze, he's looking pretty sexy right now. So.
yeah.
Yeah, he's working on his internet. It's too bad, unfortunately, because he's got decades and decades of knowledge there. So
Yes.
as soon as he gets on, he can speak up, but we still got him frozen.
So,
Dr. Garo, how about you on that question?
Well, I mean, during the ferment, I mean, you can have it when we're fermenting, when done after 9 to 2 years, you can do it. After that, you can still age it, but not fermented in a way that, in a separate room so that, you will cure it, but you have to kind of control the temperature and the humidity so that you won't burn it. I mean, you can age it. It's the same concept. When you have those cigars ready, the leaves are ready, you roll them and you keep them in the humidor. As long as you maintain everything, even though they rolled cigars, it's the same concept. You have to keep them the temperature, the humidity, everything, so that it will maintain it. But during the fermentation, when you're covering in the heat and so forth, that's where it goes out, and if you overheat it, it's going to burn it. That's what the temperature and the humidity has to be regulated all the time.
So just to make
if everything is monitored, as you said, is there any advantage though to continue that process?
Well, again, so far I haven't found anything, from my own experience, but I've gone as much as 2 years. I haven't gone as much as more than that.
Okay.
So that's why. But after that, when we roll the cigars, I leave in the humidor for another year. Everything it's the same.
So when you do the active fermentation, where you have to rotate the pilon, that's when the temperatures do spike up, and you have to monitor that. Now, when we say burn the tobacco, we don't mean like start a fire. We mean
no, I get that.
The tobacco leaf's gone to a level where it's like a burnt licorice flavor, especially if you're working with heavy oiled ligeros. Now, there's another part. There's a very, very slow fermentation process that takes place after the pilons are fermented, and then you can put the tobacco away in pacas, let's say burlap sacks. You can put them away and then keep them at a set humidity and temperature so that over a period of 1, 2, 3 years, it's actually going through a very slow fermentation process. It's a very refined fermentation. So it's really a beautiful thing, and no leaf ever goes through the same exact fermentation process. So that throws substantial equivalence conversation out completely. Look, I'm going to say something a bit provocative, right? So being doctors, we suffered the wrath of regulations, right? Doctors were the first ones to really experience regulations across insurance providers, healthcare providers, Medicare, Medicaid, all that. And the idea is to make an industry better. Look, if regulations will make our industry better, I'm okay with that. And I think everybody's okay with it. What we're not okay with is no regulations should put anybody out of business.
Right.
It should give us a pathway that is navigable and affordable so that we can all be compliant. And I think a large part of the regulations have to do with financial transparencies of many of the companies that are in the industry. We're operating in third world countries like the Wild West. So if the regulations aim to seek financial transparency, then by all means, they can take a look at all our books. But don't ask for irrational testing methods that don't work on our products and are so expensive that the majority of the small players are going to exit the industry, leaving a total monopoly for the big players. I mean, there was an act written in the 1890s, and I forget the name of it. It's a anti-monopoly act, the Sherman Antitrust Act. I think it was written in 1891. It's where no government regulation can create monopolies that benefit the large corporations. And this is exactly what the FDA is doing 130 years later. So my question is, we had this massive lawsuit. Why didn't the Sherman Antitrust Act come up? Why didn't we talk? Why didn't the big companies that financed these expensive lawsuits put their foot down and say, look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a stupid doctor, right? But there's a lot of logic in this conversation.
Yes.
And I just think it's very unfair. We're treated unfairly, you guys.
Yeah.
It sure seems that.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and getting to all three of you as doctors here, just had a question. Can you tell me about the premium cigars in relation to observable health effects on the humans, i.e., like blood pressure, heart rates, small vessel disease? You know, what are you guys seeing in the health industry from cigar smoking?
Dr. Garo, how many miles do you walk a day?
I walk 5 miles a day.
Very
And
good.
it doesn't affect on my blood pressure, my own and the heart rate, and it dilates rather than vasoconstricts, and it doesn't cause emphysema. It's because of you cannot absorb when you cannot inhale. I mean, and no small vessel diseases. But everything that they've done the studies was with the cigarette smokers, not cigar smokers. I mean, I remember when I started the cigar business, before that, when I bought my life insurance, I was considered as a non-smoker by the life insurance in 1994.
Wow.
Well, when the boom came, and I'm not going to name a magazine that came out of nowhere, which make the industry a big industry, at the same time destroyed the industry by having the insurance company say, wait a minute, like, you know, one cigar, it's 100 cigarette, we can charge the insurer 4 times now. And that's how everything changed.
Right.
So, I mean, when you go back, but health-wise, like if you're smoking a cigar, you can start thinking clearly. It's the cheapest psychiatry that you can have. Smoking a cigar.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oscar, what do you think of that, Oscar?
I totally agree. The number one killer is stress.
Yeah.
And, if you smoke one cigar, you are stress free. At least during that hour and a half, you're in a wonderful place. So I have noted in the past when I've taken people's blood pressure, I've taken people's heart rates before they start, and I've noted a decrease in their heart rate and a lowering of blood pressure of about 10 millimeters of mercury. So this is a really nice thing to do. You know, anytime you could lower stress, I'm happy with it, and I think that makes us just stay around a little bit longer, and that to me is worth the time.
No,
but of course, I do say everybody needs to do this in, of course, you know, moderation, and you know, that's really what it is. You know, make sure that we're not always in moderation. That's the key.
Yep.
Just like food. Just like food. In moderation.
I mean, moderation.
Gentlemen, what do you think these FDA regulations are going to do to all these families that are involved with rolling and, you know, the whole industry in general?
Well, the small companies that we use, they're going to put them out of business, but the big companies, they're going to benefit because it's going to benefit them.
Yes, yes. So that's a really good question, but I do want to address something really quickly because on the medical topic, right? My brother, right, another Dr. Caffey, he's a vascular surgeon. So when we talk about small vessel disease, diet and exercise are extremely important. And cigarettes, there have been studies performed, and as far as my training and background, I was a foot and ankle surgeon. I did sports medicine. I did a geriatric surgery specialty. And I also did a lower extremity amputation prevention fellowship in Texas as part of my training. So I was in the OR during my career about 2,000 times, operating on people from the knee down, right? And one of the worst things for any patient's peripheral circulation is cigarettes. So cigarettes have been proven to cause peripheral vasoconstriction, which means your blood vessels tighten for 7 minutes to 15 minutes for one cigarette. So when you're done smoking that cigarette, your blood vessels in your hands, your feet, your kidneys, where the smallest blood vessels are in the body, they constrict, right? So what that does is push blood to the core.
Mm-hmm.
That raises your blood pressure. And not only do you have higher blood pressure, but the nicotine in cigarettes increases your heart rate. And it's if you look at those factors in a healthy person, it's not a problem. But when you're looking at somebody who's a diabetic who already has compromised circulation, might have peripheral neuropathy where they can't sense their toes, it's really terrible. And with cigar use, my brother and I have had conversations, and we have not done this yet. I plan on doing it soon, just for shits and giggles, even though I already know the answer. But I'm going to perform Doppler studies on a few people, non-smokers and cigar smokers, to see if there's a difference in their circulation. But with that said, the real enemy here is, in my opinion, and I think all of our opinions, is the curse that cigarettes have placed on all other combustible tobacco products.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right.
Including pipe tobacco and premium cigars.
Yes.
Before we continue, doctors, we just want to go to a segment for our sponsors. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap things up here with you guys because we still have some interesting topics to talk about. Frank, can you take it away for us, please?
Before you light your next cigar, be sure to check out Cigar Medics, the makers of the patent-approved humidimeter. The humidimeter is a tool designed to display the relative humidity inside your cigar. With this device, there's no more guessing. Simply insert the probes into the foot or cap of your cigar, and you can instantly know if your cigar is ready to be smoked. Buy now on cigarmedics.com and see site for other cigar accessories. With the humidimeter, you'll know when to hold them and know when to smoke them.
DAV Cigars out of New York. Decades of experience combined with true love and deep understanding of cigars result in the highest of standard of each DAV hand-rolled cigar. R&A Treasures out of Tampa Bay, Florida. The last of a legacy. The last of an inventory of Thomas Cristiano in a warehouse where everything is aged and well kept for all your pipe and smoking needs.
At Norwood Royal Cigars, we have the biggest walk-in humidor in the Midwest. Our 1,500 square foot humidor is home to almost 4,000 different cigars that will meet the need of any cigar enthusiast. We have boutique blends to the more traditional selections and everything in between. From the novice beginner to the aficionado, the knowledgeable staff at NRC will find the perfect cigar for you. Located on the northwest side of Chicago, we want to be your shop for all your cigar wants and needs. As always, at Norwood Royal Cigars, light it, smoke it, love it.
Christoph Cigars uses only the highest quality double and triple fermented tobaccos from around the world, which are then artfully blended. Whether you're looking for the smooth, mild, and full flavor of the Christoph Connecticut, or the savory and full body found in the Pissed Off Christoph, they have a cigar to satisfy the palate of the most discriminating aficionado. It all begins at the very first climate-controlled Rodriguez Olivan cigar factory located in the Dominican Republic. Our two major brands include Don Olivan, which are boutique cigars suited for that individual who takes great pride in something unique, BAMF is our armed forces cigars, designed for that badass mother effer. Not only are you smoking a great premium cigar, a percentage of the proceeds is donated to our heroic men and women in uniform.
And we're back. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We're trying to get kind of a good wrap up here. And I don't know if Dr. Oscar is there or he's frozen again, but I'm going to ask a question. And if all three of you can please give me your opinions on this. But what is the solution moving forward here? With everything that's going on, we got March 18th breathing down our neck. What do you think?
That's a really good question. I do want to answer the question that came up before the commercial. Could you repeat that one, please? Do you recall what the question was?
Bob, I think that was on you.
Yeah, my question was, with the FDA regulations coming into play, what do you think really is going to happen to all these families that are part of the industry, the rollers, the growers? I mean, there's a lot of people involved in this.
So, if I may, gentlemen, this is an industry where 80% of the industry is people working for a living. There's roughly 300,000 people that support the industry in Nicaragua and Honduras, another 200,000 in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
We're already seeing caravans of immigrants coming into the United States because these countries are already unstable. And if we force an exit of, let's say, 80% of the small factories that exist, people don't know this, but there's about 180 cigar factories in Nicaragua, and only about 20 of them are big. So there's going to be a lot of unemployed people. There's going to be an immigration crisis. There's going to be third world countries are going to turn into fourth world countries. All right. It's going to be very severe. Now, in the U.S., there's about 30,000 jobs that depend on this premium cigar industry, the majority of which are in brick and mortar retail. There are titans in the industry like JR Cigars, Cigars International. There are about 8 to 10 massive companies that are going to benefit tremendously because they're large e-commerce machines. And one thing we've witnessed with the pandemic, and I won't name any company specifically, but if we look at the Boutique Cigar Association and the 48 companies that are members of the BCA, on average, if we take the average of all the companies, these companies are producing roughly 2,000 cigars a week, 8,000 cigars. Let's use the number 10,000 cigars a month we're looking at companies that produce 100,000 cigars a year on average of all the 48 companies, right? That's the average. We have guys that are higher, some that are lower, but that's the average.
Sure.
Pre-pandemic, one of the largest premium cigar players was producing 1.1 million cigars a week.
A week?
Yes.
Wow.
That is amazing.
And when the pandemic hit and August, September kicked in and they realized that everything was pushing online, they put their machine into high gear, and they proudly discussed recently in one of their corporate events held in, I won't say where, I'll leave it anonymous, right?
Yes.
They proudly spoke about how they went from 1.1 million cigars a week to 1.9 million premium cigars a week, just by turning on the machine.
Yes.
So if the FDA is really interested in protecting people, and they're talking about putting out of business all the boutique players out there, the beauty of boutique is that we have our niche markets. We're not strong in the entire U.S.
Yeah.
We all have our niche markets, but guess what? If my brand dies in Florida, They will fill that void immediately, and not only fill it, they'll grow it tenfold, a lot faster than my sorry ass little company could.
Yeah.
And they'll do the same with every other boutique cigar company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to combine it with what do we do moving forward? The future of our industry is in the hands of the boutique cigar world. That's where all the innovation comes from. That's where all the small batch comes from. We keep the big boys on their toes because guess what? We're small, we're reactive, we can produce smaller batches quicker than them. For them to produce a blend, they got to move 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
I got to move 10 people. So we are what has this cigar boom that we're living through now. We're the ones that triggered that, but they're the ones that are coming in and capitalizing on it.
Right.
Because it's a real shame. That's why in the Boutique Cigar Association, we set a bar. No more than 1 million cigars, because that's our skin. You understand?
Yep.
Right.
Now, there's other guys out there that say, I'm boutique. Yes, you are. But we established a definition for our companies.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can be boutique. Everybody can wave the flag. But if you're a member of the Boutique Cigar Association, we have our skin, and we're proud of it. And we're trying to protect, I believe, what is the most vital component of our entire industry.
Dr. Garro,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I mean, I agree with Gabby. Like, if we're going to be doing it, we have to be like self-regulating, being compliant. We have to educate people. We have to be like, use logic. It's an adult thing. Everything has to be in moderation. I mean, it's a choices that, see, for the premium cigar industry, where I traveled international a lot, I've seen a lot of ignorance in a sense that the culture of the premium cigar is not implemented right to let them people know how to enjoy it and how to do things like, overdoing it. If we educate them, people, they would start take responsibility and use the cigar as a medium to friendship and so forth. But it has to be on our part to we have to self-police ourselves so that it doesn't go out of control. We have to self-regulate. That's what I think it should be done, and that's why I'm proud being part of the Boutique Cigar Association, as Dr. Gabby said. We're protecting our skin. I mean, we came here and we said, all of us 48 people, we're one voice. We've been talking, as Gabby said, the earlier show that we were discussing this, all what that we discussed tonight for the last year and a half. So this way, what we have to do to have our foundation strong enough where there's no individual with me. There's no
Right.
ego. It's the premium cigar, boutique cigar, family oriented, how we can protect, and those are the things we've been talking. I think we established the base, and I think moving forward again with the self-regulation and education to people and opening their eyes, I think will make our voice heard.
Thank you. Dr. Oscar.
Well, as the owner of my company and having about 192 employees, which are all my family, cousins, uncles, aunts, sisters, my mother, everybody who's involved, this will destroy a lot of our normalcy, and the families that are in the United States. Of course, there's a lot of people stateside that benefit from the movement of what we do. But it's our job to educate, just like the other doctors say. We need to keep on talking about it, let people know what we're doing, and get them to get behind us, and understand what we're trying to do. Because today it's this, tomorrow they're going to come for something that you enjoy and that you like to do. And when that happens, you're going to really want the rest of us, the 3 million smokers that enjoy this passion. and you want them to get behind you, we will rally for you. So think about what's going on, because this is going deep and beyond. They're just going at anything they can, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. So what can we, as the smokers and the passionate people of the Leaf, what can we do on our end?
You know, I want to speak because Dr. Rodriguez, I believe, has the best background of all of us this evening. He's actually in a humidor at a cigar lounge. And I think you are. I'm just sorry you're not. I would grab something and smoke it. Honestly, I would just grab.
He's smoking already.
But I think what is vital, if we're talking about families, is that we have to put family-owned brick and mortar shops at the forefront. And the way we do that is develop brands that are only sold at brick and mortar shops. Now, I know it's very difficult. The entire world is going full e-commerce, but if you do sell online, protect your pricing. By protecting your pricing, you're protecting your brick and mortar partners, and they're the ones. It's the brick and mortar shop where it all starts. That's where connoisseurs get an education: how to cut a cigar, how to light it, how to enjoy it. You know, we always have conversations on podcasts about the art of retrohaling, right? You're going to learn all that at a cigar shop. You're not going to learn that when you get a package delivered to your house. Now, I know e-commerce is inevitable, but I think it's a top priority for our industry to come together, support brick and mortar, support family-owned. We're the ones that created this industry. There's big corporations that have come into the industry thinking this was going to be a money grab, to find out a decade later that their stockholders were pissed off that they were losing money in the premium cigar division. And the Altria Group was a big cigarette company that came in. If you all remember, they acquired Nat Sherman, and then they bailed. They left because their stockholders were looking at financials, and they're like, you guys are bleeding money. This is not a profitable industry. We're in this industry because we love it, and this is what we want to do the rest of our lives. And there's other. I believe last year, Swedish Match. You guys can Google all this. There's several massive publicly traded companies that have exited premium cigars because they've realized this is not. When we only cater to 0.07% of the U.S. population, that's not a big enough market to take a bite out of. And that's why for us as small producers, we enjoy what we do because we're not looking to sell cigars to 50% of America. All of us, everybody here tonight that has a cigar brand or brands, we don't just make cigars to sell them. We want to put our cigars in the hands of the most scrutinizing connoisseurs, because you know what we want? We want their feedback. We're not selling them a pack of cigarettes where we don't give a shit what people think about it. I'm on social media like all of us are. If I see a picture of my cigar, I want to see what they think about it. And if there's something wrong with it, you bet your ass I'm going to fix it. This is a personal industry, a personal business. And when we talk about self-regulation, nobody wants to touch the subject that our industry caters to adults. And this will be the last thing I say, guys, and then I'll shut up, period, all right?
It's all good.
We cater to adults, but there's a lot of brands out there. They're looking just to make a quick sale, and they'll develop brands that are very provocative in nature. What I mean by provocative to younger people. You know, you'll have cigar brands that look like a chocolate bar. You'll have cigar brands that look like cake packaging. Look, I get that this is the most creative industry in the world, but right now, when we're under a magnifying lens from the FDA, right? The FDA has us. You guys remember when we used to take a magnifying lens out in the sun and you'd burn ants with it. At least I did, right? I was a sick fucker.
Oh, yeah.
I burned, well, they have not only pulled out the magnifying lens, we're feeling the burn, okay? So right now, when we're under that loop, do we have to be so provocative and make the FDA believe that we're irresponsible, that it looks like we're developing products for children? Can we just be a little responsible, more mature, and pay respect to this industry that has allowed us to make a living doing what we love? Let's not piss on the industry. I know those are some very strong words, but the next 6 months are critical because March of 2022, the final decision is going to come down, and we're all going to have to deal with it at that point. So I think if we could just act a little bit more respectful, don't develop brands that appeal. I know everybody's a rebel, right? This is the industry of rebels. Great. I love it. This is not hate speech in any way, but we're under the magnifying lens of the FDA. Just tone it down. Let's wait until March and then do whatever the hell you want to do after that.
But the people can talk to their local representatives or somehow get all in Washington. Is there anything, guidance that you guys could recommend for the little guys like us, the consumers, what we can do?
I think first
right
and
to your
foremost,
congressman, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. Your local representative, the congressman, senators.
And we all have to voice up on this. We can't just let the next guy do it. We can't just let you guys on the boutique line do it. Everybody has to get involved in this.
I think
it has to, because I remember in California when they were passing Prop 10 in 1997 or 98, and nobody wanted to pay. I wrote to 600 something odd stores in California. I said, I have a vested interest to pay 25% of all my sales. Since I pay the excise tax, you guys support me. I have vested interest so that this law doesn't pass. They said, no, we don't care. They thought the law is not going to pass. When the law passed, it hit it chewed their butt. And that's why California is like a yo-yo. It used to be 2 months ago 53%. Today is 65%.
Oh God!
Wow.
It's like, everybody has to make sure that they raise their voice, they make their voice heard, talk to their representative. It's important. It cannot be neglected.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Dr. Oscar, anything that you can add to all of this?
I think we've said we've covered everything in that sense. We contacting your local government, letting them know how you feel, letting them know, because that's your right. That's what we are Americans for. As a Dominican, there's not much I can say in my country because my country has its own little problems. But at least there's one effort. We're about producing great cigars, growing good tobacco, and putting it out there. We're going to put our people to work and Americans to work and enjoy the fruit of our labor. This is good. It's good on many grounds, on many areas. So, why not? Contact them, get up off your butt. This is more just, sitting on your ass and thinking, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. We need everybody to chime in. Let them know. Send a letter. Send an email. Send a quick note. Send a text. I don't know. But get on it, because a lot of people depend on this. This is our passion. This is what we all share. And believe me, the big guys, they're the only ones playing. They'll never taste the way the BCA cigars taste. Never.
Exactly.
We got
Doctors, I would like to invite you all back on January 18th for the second part of this discussion. We're going to invite a few more people that are involved in this industry, and we will love to have the three of you back here for the second segment of this discussion, January 18th, right here, same time, same channel, Great Lakes Smoke Show. Is there any final words from any of you?
Well, thank you very much for you guys for doing this for the BCE and the cigar industry. Okay, I mean, let's keep the passion alive and savor the moment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you have a big event scheduled August 12th at Cedar Creek Distilleries. It's going to be the second annual BCA festival. And we're going to get information out as soon as we get it, folks. We're going to pass it on to you. Hotels and all the rest of the information will be coming out shortly. I hope everyone participates and come join and meet these three doctors in person, along with several others that the crew met last year and some.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't thank you enough, the three of you, for what you've done in the industry. You all have fine cigars. I hope you all, the listeners, get a chance to experience the three boutiques here along with all the others. Dr. Gabby, any final words on your end?
I just the amount of love that exists in our industry that I have for you guys. The people wonder what is it that drives an individual, and the answer is always love. And we're doing something honest. We're doing something sincere. We're doing something that's natural. It's really a beautiful process, the art of a premium cigar, and all the families and the time that these doctors have taken out of their schedules, and you guys for hosting us. This will go down in history as one of the final big pushes, because March is right around the corner. And I want everybody to know that everything we've discussed here tonight has been presented in writing to the National Academies of Science. I've engaged the director, Amy Geller. She's been wonderful, very receptive to us, very appreciative of all the information that we've sent them. And the emphasis has and will always be that premium cigars are different. Premium cigars are a piece of American history, Central American history, African history. We can trace tobacco to Africa, to the Canary Islands, to Brazil, to the Mayan Indias, the Incas. And 500 years later, we're still working with the same natural tobacco leaf.
Yes.
So I think that's something we should protect and cherish as a national monument, in my opinion, not destroy it. We're not cigarette companies. And with that said, you guys, thank you for the opportunity. And we pray and hope that this will have positive results and resonate throughout our industry. And people will take their time to speak up and go visit their state and local representatives and voice their opinions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctors.
Thank
We appreciate your time, and thank you for all the education and the knowledge, the research that you guys have put into this. And we were going to see you all January 18th. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your families, and
Happy Hanukkah.
And Happy Hanukkah.
Likewise.
Likewise.
And, till next week, folks. The Great Lakes Smoke
No
Show.
such-
I almost killed it there.
I wanted
Want to kick us out.
That's great.
I wanted to make sure we end with this so that people can have this in their minds when they draw up their letters and they actually reach out to their Congress people. So they should think about what this woman says about premium cigars.
There's no such thing as a premium cigar, premium cigar, premium cigar. The premium cigar is a concept developed by the tobacco industry to try to escape FDA regulation of all tobacco products.
Wow.
With that, we want to wish you all a great night, and light them up, everyone. Till next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
guys.
everybody.
Good night now.
Good night.
Perdomo Taj Mahal here. You know?
It really is.
They're stopping by. Oh, I heard about you. I smoke your cigars. I love it.
That's the short story behind how Christoph got started. It's actually named after our son, Christopher.
We're infamous for our packaging. Everybody knows Kirk has got the best packaging, the most beautiful labels.
All your listeners out there, thank you. Be careful, be safe, and God bless you.
Long ashes and slow burns, my friend.
There you go.
Tell my brothers to line them up. We'll drink that whiskey from those old dirty cups. We'll toast to the present, the future, and the past. This ain't my first drink, but I sure it ain't my last. 'Cause this world is so beautiful. I see its love come shining through. This world is so beautiful.